that you don't want her to get caught. You're not sure, how far she's going to push things. And so I think that it not to use the word caper, but there's that element to it. And so I think, there's a real way to continue the story.
And I think like this is a compliment to you and to Lisa Rinna is like it's her, but not always. Like you do have moments of like maybe this twist. I mean, until the daughter finds all the phones and it's clearly her. But there are
Yeah.
moments where you're not so sure for at least a good first half of the movie, or even a little longer than that, I feel.
Yeah, we definitely thank you. Thank you for the compliment. We wanted to layer that in. In an early version of the script, you didn't know it was Madeline until right before the end. And then the powers that be thought it would be more fun to kind of watch her twist and turn and almost get caught and have to cover up, which Lisa does so well. But I still wanted to introduce elements like Elliot, Mia's best friend, or even the dad, that they have kind of this twisted relationship, and you never really know the details of the restraining order, which you sort of find out at the end. So yeah, you want to goose up all of those elements so that it gives the audience a reason to keep watching. I want to, again, I'm always going to be an audience member, so I know I'm going to want to keep my attention for the length of the movie, and not just that it has this one hook and then once you know it, you're like, all right. If a commercial comes on, I'll tune out.
Are there like, if you could write for any actress, like who would be at the top? I mean, you could like a few or one, who would be at the top of your list?
Oh, that's such a good question, and I don't even know that I have an answer. It's funny because I'm working on a couple horror movies right now. One that is hopefully about to go into pre-production, and another that has a pretty major rapper attached. So that's really fun. Uh, you know, I really I'd kind of be bullshitting, I think, if I said an answer. I mean, there's some really, really talented people out there. And I remember doing Heavenly Christmas for Hallmark. And, you get the network notes. And this was in 2016. So, they kind of, and my movie had to do with death, which they weren't really thrilled with at Hallmark at the time. So, the script got watered down a little bit, in my opinion, which it does. And I'm grateful to Hallmark. It was a Hallmark Hall of Fame, so it had a huge budget. But then they brought in these cast members, right? Eric McCormick, Kristen Davis, and Shirley MacLaine. And then they lift the material, where they maybe interpret a line differently than you had written it on a page. And that's when it becomes community theater. But that's what this is, right? Like, as married as I am to specific words on a page or that sort of thing, then the director comes in with his or her vision. And, the producers have a certain edict that they want to follow. And then depending who the cast member is, who's cast in it, they're going to have their opinion as well. Or maybe just, here comes my cat.
We've had many cats and dogs on this podcast, children too. So
Well, she
welcome.
counts as both. That's my little rescue cat, Shelby. I do animal rescue as a side hustle.
Well,
So
that's
yeah,
not a bad
so
side hustle.
it's a great one until I have to give them up for adoption, and then oh
Oh,
boy, do the tears happen. So yeah, I yeah, there's a couple, but it varies. It depends on, I tend to write all over the board, which my agents have never loved because, I'll be that person that writes the Hallmark Hall of Fame movie and then I'll trot in with my new R-rated horror script. And they're like, what about your brand? So it really depends on the project, who the actor might be. There's a lot of great undiscovered talent out there too. I was really thrilled with the supporting cast that we got for Mommy Meanest. And it'll be interesting to see, what happens with the horror movies also. And because sometimes when you have a big star, including Lisa Rinna, people come in with an attached perception of that person. And so then it's the actor's job to make you forget that you're watching Lisa Rinna, but you're watching Madeline, who is cyberbullying her daughter, trying to cover that up. And the same is true for some of these huge actors in Hollywood, right? They have such you know, they are who they are, like Ryan Gosling, you know. So the first 10 minutes of the movie, you're watching Ryan Gosling thinking of how I would leave my husband for him, but I digress. You know, and actually Ryan Gosling's great at taking roles that sort of shift our perspective of him as of late. But you do, you know, you actors come into it with something, and then you know, you see what you get when the movie is finished. I was lucky with Mommy Meanest because I was involved every step of the way, but that's not always the case. Sometimes you hand in the script and then you're at the premiere seeing that they misspelled your name in the credits, which happened the first time I sold a movie.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
well,
they
everyone misspells my name, so I understand how that.
you're like, welcome to the club.
Welcome to the club. But no, to that point, right? Like after Housewives, I think there was a perception. I mean, that is just a compliment to Lisa Rinna that you have done this job so well for 8 years and you have left everything out there. In this movie, you truly 100% do not feel like you're watching a Real Housewife of Beverly Hills, Lisa Rinna, with all those things that happened through 8 years and at the end and everything in between. You really feel like you're like, to me, right away, I was like, I mean, and I didn't doubt it, but it was like, yeah, remember Taylor McBride from Melrose Place? Well, here we go. This is why. I mean, I think it's a great, you know what I mean? So it's like to her credit, your credit, like it's a hard thing to do, I think, when you're on any show for 8, plus years.
Sure, even if it's a scripted show, right? Like we don't
Yeah.
necessarily, you know, it's hard for us to think of an actor in a different character. And by the way, I hear from a lot of people that they miss Lisa Rinna on Housewives, right? Even the ones that maybe didn't love her on the show, they're like, she really made it interesting. But I love that she's acting again. I hope she keeps acting.
I miss Lisa Rinna on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, but I mean, I've always said that. But I agree. I think this will open up. I would love to see a Mommy Meanest too. Maybe you could write a movie where there's two like frenemies, and you can have like a Denise Richards over here and a Lisa Rinna over here. I'll just put that out into the
I
world.
love that. Well, Denise Richards and I do have the same lawyer, so you know, could happen.
She's been on Hallmark. She's been on Lifetime. Is there anything else you're working on now? You have two horror movies. That's pretty
I'm
much your
working on
main
the horror
focus.
movies. Yeah, those are really exciting because I love like I think one of the reasons that Hallmark and Lifetime have been so successful is I call them the new white noise, right? Like you can, you know, turn on a Christmas movie or turn on a Lifetime movie and you just kind of detach from, you know, the stuff that might be weighing you down mentally and you know what you're going to get, you know, and sometimes there'll be some surprises. It's like with Mommy Meanest, you know, plot wise. But I think horror movies are the same way. I feel like a really well written horror movie, which most of them I don't think are because they just get too cartoony with the characters. And not that we have to like the characters, but if we don't care if they're being killed, then it just doesn't up the stakes. So I have one that's going to hopefully go into pre-production shortly, and then another one that I'm working on the script now. And I feel like those are really exciting because they're just kind of roller coaster rides that you know once you kind of start you it doesn't stop till the end. You know, I remember as a you know very young kid seeing Alien, which I was not supposed to see an R-rated movie, but I did, and it just terrified me so much, but it also just got in my head. And you know, both as a wannabe writer and filmmaker as well as somebody just terrified at 2 a.m. that somehow there was an alien under my bed, but I couldn't tell my parents because then I would be in big trouble for watching an R movie.
It was a great movie. As we wrap up, anything else you want to, well, I'll share your socials with everyone. You and I will keep in touch. We've already been DMing all the time. So.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, no, I'm so happy with Mommy Meanest. I appreciate everybody who watched our premiere. As you mentioned, you can stream it. And I'm on to the next exciting things. I love being able to watch Lifetime. They've been so good to me and really open to creative ideas. And, you know, listen, like when I got to go to Vancouver on the set of Mommy Meanest and you're, you know, meeting Lisa and meeting the other cast members and even just the other extras and you see the makeup people and all that stuff, it's such it's such a mind-blowing thing. And I'm really hit with humility because I'm like, oh my gosh, like these 500 people are here because I put pen to paper. And it really is not an ego thing. It's just so exciting. And then to see each of them bringing their artistic skills to uh, you know, to what's being done, even people that you don't see on camera, right? Or people that are in the background. And, you know, or to see like, you know, the little school uniforms with the little logo on it and stuff. And it's like, so I'm so grateful for what I do, and I love getting to do it, and I love entertaining people.
That's good. You're humbled, and it's still a big thing when you see all these people. I mean, I feel the same way when someone's like you did. You're like, I'm like, oh, someone heard me say this, and I'm talking about mommy meanest. I mean, I know there's a lot of people listening, but still, when someone listens to something specific and is so like excited by it, I'm like, oh, thank you very much. So, and thank you for
Yeah,
loving the
it's
Sandra
exciting.
Bernhardt chat.
Oh yeah, listen, I'm a big fan. I'm not just saying that because I'm here. I think it's great. Please keep doing what you're doing. And I
You
love that
too.
you're, you know, it's funny because when I first kind of put my toe in the water, I thought, oh, this is all Real Housewives stuff, but it's that and so much more. You know, there's such a catalog of great stuff to listen to. And it really is sort of like sitting at the kitchen table with you, the celebrity du jour, and me, which I think is really effective for a podcast. And again, it